Auto sequence start in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Well, hello there. Welcome, my fellow spiritual beings, to another installment of Canned Conversation. My name is Andrew, and with me, as always, my good friend Stephen.
Oh, hello.
Hello. So tell me, my friend, what per se are you going to dress up for this Halloween?
Dress up as? Because it's for Halloween.
Yes, for the candy.
I'll probably use my same outfit that I use every year, which is me. I don't know. I'm not a big dresser-upper for Halloween anymore. My wife still gets into it, but I'm nah.
Okay. Yeah. If the right mood hits and I don't have to put a ton of work into it.
Yeah, it's a lot of work.
Because some people get so into it. It's like their favorite ultimate holiday. So they plan out months in advance. Yeah. I'll look in the mirror and go, I kind of look like Bane from Batman. If I just had a leather jacket and that mask on the front. And so maybe if I get the whim to go on Amazon, I'll do that. But yeah, I don't, it usually just sneaks up on me, and we're more worried about the kids. Well, we were.
Not anymore.
No.
And the funny thing is, it's easier now to find an outfit because you can do exactly what you just said. Go on Amazon, search for it, pick a size, it'll be there in a day, right? Before you had to go somewhere and try stuff on, and usually that aisle, it looks like a bomb went off because people have thrown crap at. I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
But now I have no excuse other than I just don't want to.
They go to the Halloween Superstore. There's one on every corner.
Yeah.
Starting in October 1st probably. But it's kind of fun to go in there and wander around.
Yeah.
I never get that spark of, oh man, I have to dress up. But I also I don't get invited to a lot of big Halloween parties. But
we should start a new tradition.
Maybe try to put one together.
Yeah. Now that, kind of our friend group's got older kids,
Yeah.
Kids are getting older and they don't really participate. They go do their own thing.
All right. You're in charge. Make that happen.
Oh, it's not going to happen. Is that?
Well, as the name of our show suggests, one of us brings a new, unique, or rare canned beverage to try, and while we tickle our tonsils with its contents, we will do our very best to delight you with our wittiest of conversation. Today's topic being a thought experiment in higher powers that Stephen is going to walk us through. Later in the show, we'll come back and review and rate the canned beverage and let you know if you should try it while picking or completing your employer's annual enrollment process.
Oh.
How exciting is that process?
Not.
Would it be better with a can of what we're going to drink today?
It might, yeah.
I'm pretty sure you shouldn't do that on the clock.
No, you can pick those things out after hours.
Sure, exactly.
Drink as much as you want while you're going Plan A, Plan Platinum, or the Gold Elite plan or something. Whatever.
Yes, I have no dependents. Yes, I don't want to pay all that money. Make that number get lower.
I see just fine. I don't need your stupid dental vision.
Right, no vision. I love it. It's apropos.
Comes with the guy with glasses who just went to the eye doctor today.
So. Ooh, all right.
Yeah.
Well, let's do this for our can because I want to get talking about this thought experiment. So let's do this.
Hello, we'd like you to have this flower from the Church of Religious Consciousness. Would you like to make a donation?
No thanks, we gave it the office.
Do I get to guess that one?
Yeah.
That's Airplane, isn't it?
Woohoo! All right, we'll get you the
nice.
So that's our walk-up music here for this can. So tell us, what are we going to enjoy today?
So we're going to enjoy a can from a listener, one of our Texas
most
listeners,
vocal listeners.
Well, definitely our most vocal listener. It's called Pecker Wrecker.
All right.
And so Pecker Wrecker is a imperial pilsner. It's 8% alcohol by volume. It is a 12 Florida ounce can. It has a woodpecker with a crinkled up, for those who aren't watching us on YouTube and you're just listening along. It's a woodpecker smoking a cigar, driving a tow truck. which is an interesting graphic and one, this can I will keep forever because I love the graphic on it. It's hysterical. So yeah, Pecker Wrecker.
Yeah, this is the bad boy of Woody Woodpecker.
It is. It's his bad brother.
Yeah, he's got a cigar hanging out of one side of his mouth, got the sunglasses on. Looks like his beak has been a bit worn out from all of his
pecking
adventures. And it does say across the top, if you can't beat it, wreck it.
Agree.
So that's pretty fun. And it does look like his wrecker that he's driving in does have a broken windshield. So,
yeah.
And he's got a what they sometimes refer to as a wife beater on.
Yeah, he does.
I'm not sure if that's the acceptable way to say that anymore, but it is the stereotypical white tank top on. So this is a fun can. I hope the insides of this can taste as good as the can looks.
Yeah, agree. All right, you ready to go through a thought experiment?
I am.
So I'm not going to take credit for this thought experiment, but I did hear it. And I don't think it went well where I heard it. And I'm like, I think we could do this better on our podcast.
Yeah, we can.
So I heard it on a radio show. He threw out a question, interesting thought experiment. I don't think anybody played along very nicely with him. But it sounds like so here's the deal. It's based on religion.
Okay.
If tomorrow, well, screw it. If today, someone came down, handed you a note card, said, here's how I can prove there actually is no higher power, deity, whatever that is. Okay?
Okay.
Proven. Beyond a shadow of a doubt, it just doesn't exist.
It's all on this note card.
It's just, 3 bullets.
Wow.
This is how I know, right? Whatever that is.
Seems so simple.
So basically all of religion.
Basically
all of religion. No, all of religion up to this point, today it stops. Because there's proof that it shouldn't exist. There's nothing there.
Okay.
Okay. You still with me?
Yes. And does the person is it a person that's presenting you the note card?
It's Jesus.
Okay.
I'm just kidding. No.
Just out of curiosity, is it someone you know, or is it a complete stranger?
Doesn't matter because it's a thought experiment to say, I believe what's on the card. Now what?
Okay. So you do.
I just believe it.
Okay.
It's conclusive proof. So everyone in the world has to believe it. Is your time with religion wasted? Is the time up till now wasted?
Okay.
Did you waste your time being a Christian? Like you grew up you went to a Catholic school.
I did.
Which is now going to be closed.
Right, unfortunately.
So
it's a boo on that one.
I saw that on the news. I'm like, oh my, I think that's Andrew's school.
That is my alma mater, maybe closing.
Yeah.
Apparently there might be some
they're trying to revive it, but
some non Catholic funding is what they're looking for. They did have some people there with some pretty deep pockets, and they've put a lot of money into that facility. So it is. I cannot believe that it's closing down. But I digress.
And that high school beat my hometown's high school
state championship
to get to the state championship. Yeah, like in the regional finals or district finals or whatever that is. So yeah, so I had to call somebody, and I called my sister and like, hey, tell your husband who's the football coach.
Right, don't have to worry about that school anymore.
This will not be a problem after next year.
We shut it down.
Yeah. So which I thought was funny because that school had a ridiculous high school team. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Their football team was ridiculous.
And it had ridiculous facilities. They had purchased a bunch of land around there. They had built baseball fields all around it. They had acres.
We're getting away from the thought experiment, but yeah, it was
this
nice.
goes to the whole point.
So all that money.
Do I believe that would have ever happened?
Yeah. So religion now after today. So starting tomorrow, everybody goes, oh, there is nothing there.
Okay.
Do you think it was worth it?
Yes. Yes, I think it was worth it. No, I don't think that time was wasted on religion.
Okay. Why?
So if I zoom out a bit
okay,
and look at it from a societal perspective, I think religion has held a particular place in society for a reason. And there's a lot involved there, but if one of those reasons was to formulate a cohesive society that was built on some morals and some general ideas of good and bad, then I think that was the right theory.
Okay.
Now, that said, religion has taken opportunity to screw up a lot of times throughout history and has let power go to their head, has fought numerous, how am I supposed to?
Numerous.
Numerous.
Gee, man.
Yes.
Numerous wars.
Numerous wars. Many, I think the statistic is like many more lives have been lost due to religious reasons than other
reasons. Yeah.
check the box other.
Everything else. Yeah.
So yeah, there is, a lot of, I think, negativity associated with it in those terms. But I think at its core, I think the people that have followed religions, and not just Christianity, but some of the others that, are based on a moral code, I think that has helped, right? Especially given that, like, nowadays, I think it would be potentially easier, and this may be short-sighted, for a society to build laws off of non-religious basis. But I think back in the day when they didn't really have and we talked about this a bit last time when we were talking about governments, if the government is fundamentally there for the people, then that's one thing. But a lot of time, in many of previous governments in antiquity, there were a few in power and a lot not in power.
Yeah.
And so the few in power, if they had no moral compass that was sort of bestowed, like, hey,
you have to at least abide by church rules while you go about conquering everything.
Then I think that it would have been even worse off.
Okay.
That's my personal opinion. So I don't think it's wasted. And there's so much to this, right? I think, and don't let me steal all this. Like,
No.
I can throw it back to you here, but just the amount of, amount of interpersonal relief people have felt, I think, spiritually, that's something to be said, because they didn't know for sure. No one came, like Jesus himself only lived on the earth for 33 years, right? So like the people that were directly knew him got that one-on-one, but like if you were alive in 1800, you didn't have that, okay, I'm Jesus, I'm here are my teachings. So you were going a lot on faith, right? And a lot on just being a spiritual, listening to your spiritual advisor, if that's a priest or something like that, counseling you. And if you had really bad things in your life, be it sickness, poverty, all whatever, family problems, you could probably, reach to your spirituality and go, this is a safe haven for me. Like if I pray, I can get that stress out. If I pray, I can relieve some of that anxiety.
Cool. So with that said, I'll be the bad guy then. If you're going to try to be good guy here, I'll play a bad cop.
Sure.
So
I can make an argument maybe for both. I don't know.
So I'm going to give you a couple scenarios. The most poignant of which is because it, like all these podcasts, we talk about what happens in our lives. And I took a new job recently, and they've got a very active diversity and inclusion programs. Yeah. So they actually had they have a chapter. The company I work for has a budding chapter up in Canada. And so they had a Native American woman come on, and doesn't work for our company, just came on to be a speaker and told her story. And she was basically talking about the schools that were put up. So the government schools that came in, or the church schools that came in to basically cleanse all of the savages of their culture and indoctrinate them into a religion. And then the Pope recently has gone back to Canada and apologized for years and years, like generations of people that have gone through this school, and now they don't have any of that Native American culture because it's been so far removed. Like a lot of it's gone, like gone.
Right.
So that's not a new story. That's happened countless times throughout religion.
Yeah, that's true.
that societies were functioning as well-built societies. Religion has deemed them not adequate and
Agreed.
taken them over and just flushed them of what their culture was and indoctrinated them into something that we now know as of this postcard doesn't exist. Like somebody
Right.
made it up. It's a lie.
Okay.
For no good reason other than we think we're right and smarter than you, and we think we have the power to do it because we either have numbers, guns, whatever we have something. We have something that you don't. We're going to take something from you. So the church has really been good about going, we need to spread, and the way you get membership is spread and indoctrinate people, right? That's kind of what churches, organized religion does.
All right.
So you
riddle
still
me
with
this,
there?
Batman.
Okay.
Your devil's advocacy. So
Throwing something out.
say you're in a religion, and this isn't current times. We don't have quite the information maybe that we do now. Put yourself in the 1500s, the 1600s, 1700s, and you devoutly believe you're a devout Christian, and in your Christianity, they are teaching, and you fully believe that anybody not baptized is going to hell, right?
Okay.
The fires of hell.
Right.
And you see a group of people that haven't been baptized, and they're like, yeah, we don't really want your stuff.
Yeah.
And we believe in these 5 gods of thunder and the volcano over here, and something. And you go, and what you are trying to do is go, I've been taught to spread my message and save you. I want to save your soul.
I've been taught, though, is what I want. So religion has taught you that that's the only way to get there. And
True.
Based on belief alone, not based on fact, based on rewritten and overdone scriptures that have been put in a book. Right. So just follow me on this.
Sure.
That people of power have taken something and revised it over the course of time and used it to control other people.
Right, but what I'm saying is, in that time period, you may not have associated the Bible with being a tool of manipulation. That might not be something that was on your radar.
Right.
So what's on your radar is just like the bullets on the postcard. When someone handed you a Bible, you believed it.
Right.
Okay. So without the backstory of knowing that it was potentially not translated correct. There was a lot, or not translated word for word. A lot of the meanings may have gotten skewed and all that.
Right.
If you take that away, though, and just your average group of people and go, hey, you're Christians. You see these people over there and they're damned. They're going to go to hell.
Right.
In order for you to try it and to help your cause of going to heaven, God wants you to go over there and help them get to heaven because they're his children too. So I'm sort of taking the approach of, to your argument earlier, you were looking at it from sort of a power angle, whereas I'm looking at it from an empathetic angle, and saying, was that okay? I mean, we know now it wasn't. Okay. So for purposes of the argument, I don't want to come down on the wrong side of history. It was never a good idea necessarily, but also keep in mind at the time, that's what people thought. Do you hold them to your current day's knowledge?
Right. That's part of it is going, what I know now. If they knew then what I know now, where would they have fall? Where would they like? You're new to literacy at some point, right? And like the only thing you can read is the Bible, and people go, "That's the truth," and you go, "Sure, it is. Let's go do that." Right?
Yeah.
Like that's the thing. The part of that I want to extend out is that there's multiple major religions in the world. True. Right. So we've been talking kind of from a Christianity perspective because I like to kind of dog on Catholics, but that's just part of my nature. But organized religion from a Christianity perspective kind of drives me a little crazy. But there's other religions out there,
and a lot of them have some of the similar things. I mean, I think Islam has a lot. It has a lot of the same belief of try to save those people. Those people don't know what's good for them,
right?
And
you're in charge of helping
them. And they're
them
going
find
to
a good
hell
thing.
for eternity, right? Like so, and God wants you to make them part of His flock. What do? Do you think that you're the only person in a village of, let's say, 1,000 back then, and you step up and raise your hand and go, I don't think so.
Okay, so take yourself out of the 14, 15, 1600s and pull yourself into today. Looking back, is it still worth it? So you're saying there's all this good that came out of it. We also agree there's all this evil that came out of it.
A lot of bad.
A lot of
good, a lot of bad.
a lot of good, a lot of bad.
Right. It's still a lot of good. I mean, today it's not like this has gone away. I mean,
No.
there's still a lot of things done in the name of God.
Yeah, that are just
that
egregious.
A lot of people would not agree with, including us. Right.
Right. I mean, there's a guy who protests every vet that comes home in a casket and is like, gay people are gonna, call, like, you're like,
Right.
what are you doing? God, your God's telling you that that's the right answer. I'm like, what is wrong with you? I don't understand it.
It's not that Westboro Baptist.
Yeah, those
church, is
Westboro
it?
Baptist people.
Because they're just off the freak meter.
But it's all in the name of God, right?
Yeah, but
It's all,
there's only like 5 of them, right? Or 5 to
I
10.
think there's more than you think.
I hope not. I'm like, I want to believe that that is a very small minority, but it's when I'm trying to talk to the larger Christianity as sort of a whole, or Islam as sort of a whole, Hindu as a whole. Those are the big ones, and Judaism very small, right? I mean, in terms of population of people, but definitely a very prominent religion.
But there's no hell there, so that's the one to
Right.
get into if you want to like increase the population of something. Is go
That and Presbyterians, right?
Presbyterians believe in beards and no hell.
No hell and grow beards in the winter. Right?
That's what I learned. So yeah, I'm probably gonna get some messages on that one from my sister. So no, so yeah, so I guess where I struggle with this whole conversation, or struggle with this topic, and why I brought it up is that I struggle with organized religion in general, because I think there's always, it's just a power grab. It's popes or priests saying that they're closer to God than you are, and you need to do what you have. They say to get closer, right? And that's usually taken advantage of in some way, shape, or form, or has been in the past. Not just with Catholics, but lots and lots of Christianity issues, or other religions. So where I thought it was interesting is that from an organized religion and from a leadership perspective, I'm 100% going. I went, yeah, it would be better if that never existed. The way that they've hoarded power and conquered worlds and done stuff in the name of God and blah blah blah, and done stuff really really bad in the name of something really what they believe to be really really good and righteous, drives me crazy. Like, really, it makes me angry.
But I would like to play the devil's advocate on that and say that postcard was dated 0 BC, and someone got that and they were like, or 33, I don't know when that was a good time to, because Jesus was right then, but it's like early Christianity. So let's say 100 BC, after Jesus had gotten crucified and all that.
BC?
And then, no, AD, sorry.
I'm like,
80.
we're still talking before
Right.
Christ, but he got
Right.
crucified.
But like the church was still super young, and it was, like a sect, right? That wasn't quite accepted yet. It didn't really get acceptance until it got big enough that the Roman Empire had to go, hey, we
should do something
We're gonna.
with this.
Constantine goes, yeah, we're gonna bring them in so that we can get more people. But so let me just on the devil's advocate side of this say, suppose they got that postcard and they go, okay, religion's not a thing. Do you think anything would have really changed fundamentally from then till now?
I don't know. The power is still there, right? There was,
Yeah,
like,
they would have just done it under a different banner.
Yeah, obviously could be. It just feels less hypocritical to me. Where I toggled though on this whole question was something you said, and I don't know that you hit the same toggle as I do, but the toggle piece for me was on one side of it is the leadership piece and the organized religion and the doing things in the name of God that you like just because you made that up. Like, I feel like there's a lot of people just making stuff up to say it serves my interest for me to say this is in the name of God. You go do this for me. On the individual, so that's the leadership, like organized religion side. On the individual side, I feel like it's there's so much good that comes from belief in something else and the ability. And so on the thing I was listening to, one of the people said, I would still pray even if I knew there wasn't a God.
Yeah, I can see that for sure.
It's almost meditation. It's me confessing what I'm feeling in my head, which is, interesting. And so like it helps me from a individual perspective. I think I would still pray. And they go, who would you pray to? It doesn't matter. Like you still need, and the sense of community, like churches bring together community. They do that. I get it. Like that, they bring people together in some semblance that we all believe the same kind of thing. And so I'm going to save part of this for the second half.
Sure.
But yeah, there is good there, right? Like there's definitely good in religion. It just, is it individually or is it as an organized religion?
So let me ask you this.
Okay.
Given what you said, right? Because you said that had people potentially not believed in a religion because they had this information, and let's say it was back early on. So there's two roads that could have happened.
Okay.
One, there is no religion, and they just use some other form of manipulation or power, whatever stick they want to wield or carrot, in order to facilitate power,
Manipulate the masses,
and make sure that power is delved out in a way that they want. Okay, that we've called the evil. We've said that's the bad of religion.
Okay,
that it's been used as an excuse or used in a way to manipulate and go after power and ultimately kill a bunch of people.
Okay.
That's bad. So in that respect, you've said if we can go back and make it go away, then maybe we wouldn't have that. I don't know, right? Like that's kind of what I was getting from you.
Yep.
But we've said we think that vacuum of religion would be filled by just a different means to do it. Now, in the same respect, we've said the good that has come from it is from people's personal, right? Like relationships with whoever they see their God as, and praying and using it as anxiety relief, stress relief, a means to have a moral compass. Mm-hmm. That's a lot of good.
Values and morals. Right?
So my question is then, would you get rid of the bad for the sake of getting rid of the good when the bad was going to exist anyway, just under a different banner? Did you follow me?
Yeah. Would the good exist anyway under a different banner?
That's my question.
That's why it's a thought experiment.
I know, but that's why I'm asking you.
I have no answer.
Tell me your thoughts.
So my thoughts, though, are:
would there be the good would there also be good to the level that religion has provided people a way of living their life?
So I want to rephrase question for one.
Going to ask a question with a question?
With a question. And I don't
answer
want to
a question
do that.
with
Sorry.
a question? That's okay.
And so it's, do people need religion? So that's one part of this question. Two parts of this question is, so I almost want to rate a beer and come back, just for the record, because I think these are two different discussions that I want to talk about. One is, do we have to have it? Like, do humans need the sense of belief to keep going? Two is, think about all the investment in money. So I'm going to tap into your capitalistic brain for just a hot minute.
Right.
Think of if the money hadn't been spent, like when you look at religious entities, they're usually extremely wealthy. They have a big bankroll, Catholic Church, whoever, big amounts of money. People, and it's part of the Bible. You tithe out your 10% of your income to them, right? Like that's part of what they've taught. So they have these giant bank accounts. Where would we be if we didn't spend money on that? What else could we have done? Where else would that money have gone? So what do you think? We break and then, right? Or do you,
can I answer? Do you want me to answer that? And then we'll come into because for that.
Okay. So yeah, do the capitalism and we'll come back for, do we need it?
Right. That one is such an interesting question, but I always feel like that there is a path that will get taken. And so, yes, has religion gathered up a lot of money? There are certain religions that have, for sure, right? And do they always, but does that money could have been put to some other use? Well, they have used that money in good ways, right? Like there's
Catholic charities and there's all these
there's a lot
institutions
of charity
that go out and feed hungry people and take in and do all kinds of really good stuff with some of that money.
They've built schools, right? Like my mind's closing down, but
and why is yours closing? Because the percent of Catholicism in that school has gone down, and they're like, we're not funding this anymore because these kids aren't Catholic.
That but I actually blame the area more so. I don't think parents want to send their kids to that particular area because there are other high schools that are Catholic high schools that are thriving, that have a ton of people that are trying to get in, that they're turning people away from, right? Like there's parents that we've talked to that are like, hey, my kid didn't get into this Catholic school. And I'm like, well, that's crazy because this other school has 22 people that enrolled. Right. But it's in the inner city. But do you want to send your kid who's driving 16 down into a place where the murder rate is off the chart?
That's the places that the religion can help.
I would agree. That's think
the irony that I found in that whole thing, that whole news post. I'm like,
well, there's a lot going on with that.
There is. Keep going. Sorry.
Right now, Catholicism. They've taken that money and they've put a lot of it into very ornate things that I think that wasn't quite in line with the I'm a carpenter.
Right. I'm a carpenter. Yet you need to have like a palace.
Right. I don't think, but and when I was in school, I brought all those questions up. We had priests and nuns we have religion class, and I would raise my hand and be like, if we're supposed to be giving to the poor, why do we have gold everywhere?
Right. Why is everything stained glass?
Right. And they're like,
ornate.
well, and they would always have a good answer, right? They would always have an answer I think they sort of believed to be true, but it was like, yes, well, we do those things as well. We try to feed the hungry, clothe the naked, and embrace, people that need a spiritual outlet. But in the same respect, we are giving homage to our God by, building this beautiful place of worship. And it's like,
does he really go, that was a good use of, like in their head, like that's what drives me. In their head, they're like, God's like, thank God you built me something pretty. Oh, and you helped those people too. Good on you. Right. Like, what?
Who knows?
What
but
is
who
going
knows what
on?
God? Right. All right, let's rate a beer.
Man. All right.
This is really good thought experiments. So
do you like kind of the willy-nilliness of this?
Yeah, it'll be interesting. If I was a listener and listening along, like trying to, I hope you're following the thread, right, of kind of where we're going. And I hope it's not too offensive because I know we have a lot of different listeners, right?
Yeah.
Like, and then, so I know we haven't, I don't think explicitly stated it, but it's not like we're anti-religion.
No.
Right.
I'm anti-organized religion.
Right. We're anti-using religion as a stick or a carrot sometimes in order to get things to manipulate for the wrong reasons. Yeah. But we're not anti-religion. At least I'm not. But yeah, we'll get more into it at the back half.
Yeah, absolutely.
After we crush some
Pecker Wrecker.
Right.
This thing is awesome. So I brought it even though it's not my can. Shout out to Billy. So Pecker Wrecker. It was it tasted a little IPA-ish to me for a hot minute.
Yeah, a little bit.
I'm not gonna lie, it's definitely full flavor, but it's kind of grown on me as we've talked about religion through the Pecker Wrecker can.
We should have had wine for this one, perhaps.
Yeah,
but
so
we've only tried one can of wine. When your sister brought it, and I think that just made us go, "Ooh, I'm not sure about that."
Yeah, it was brutal.
Although we did the mead. That's kind of a
wine.
It's a honey one.
Yeah. So it's not bad though. I've warmed up to it. It's a solid 3. It just, the first 2 drinks, I'm like, ooh, this is heavier than normal beer, right? And like it tastes a little more
bitter.
IPA, a little more, but actually it's not bad. It's just full flavored and,
Yeah.
I dig it.
So full 3 for you.
Full 3 for me.
Yeah, I thought the same. When I started drinking it, I thought that as well. I actually looked back at the can to see what it was labeled as. And so it was like Imperial Pilsner.
Right. So
and
not
I'm
an
like,
Imperial Pale Ale, which is IPA, right? So, India Pale Ale, but.
Right. So the Imperial part of it, I wonder, like, I don't know. I don't know enough yet to delve down into the wording, right? To go, does that mean that it still has the additional hops to it? Because it does have a bit of that bitterness to it. This is one of those where I would definitely drink one. Someone says, dude, you got to try a Pecker Wrecker. I'm like, yeah, I do. And then I'm drinking it and I go, yeah. But other than, I think the can is way more of a draw than the taste.
The can's a 4, maybe a 5.
Right. Whoever designed the can did a fantastic job, and they are selling some beer based on the name and the can. Right. Their marketing, fantastic.
You sound
Great
like you're
job.
at a 2.
I really am. I think I'm at a 2. It's not good enough for me to say, I'll ask for more of it.
So
just a little too bittery.
Yeah, I'm staying at my 3. I mean, I'm
you.
solid on my 3 because I think after the first like quarter of this one, I could drink a couple of these. I could.
Okay.
I'll be okay drinking them for a while.
Yeah.
So, well, good. All right, so continue on back on the thought experiment.
Yes.
So I don't know where you wanted to go with the rest of this thought experiment. However,
This is your baby.
it's already gone better than what I heard,
Okay.
in my opinion.
Right.
Like it got weird on the.
And do you think that part of it was because, I mean, given they're if they're a radio show, they have probably a much bigger audience. Do you think they were a little afraid to get into some of like things that we're talking about, saying, we know religion has wielded swords, right? And killed people in the name of religion, and looking back on it, made bad, they were the villain.
They've been
right?
wrong a lot.
Right. Do you think that's part of it? Is that people kind of in today's society, they're like, I don't want to, like right before we rated the beer, I made sure to say, I hope I'm not,
Yeah,
we're not
you kept me
offending
out of
anybody.
this, and I don't know why. Like we have opinions. It doesn't
True,
make it fact.
true.
It just this is a thought experiment.
Right.
Like where are you?
But I
at
hope
with
our
it?
listeners are smart enough to know,
Yeah.
right? Like that.
Our listeners are smart.
Yes, they are.
They come here for knowledge
Yes.
and to tickle their brain.
Right. And to talk while we're talking,
Yeah,
because we hear that a lot.
To
right?
yell
Like,
to yell at us while we get it wrong.
why aren't you saying this? This is a good point, and I get it.
Yep. So, I think this went better because when I heard it happen on, it was a radio show. I don't think anybody was prepared to just write off religion. Like no one could change their mindset to say, I just turned it off today. Like religion's gone. Great. We're all just humans evolving on the earth. We're here for an average of 82 years. That's it. What do you do here without religion? And then everybody was like, what do you mean? Like it just like there was no prep, I guess, for that. Like he just threw it out. And then everybody was like, and the poor one girl says, I would still pray. And I pray because I'm Christian, but I would also pray if there was no Christian God or if any God, I would still pray because it helps me. I would still
for sure.
have belief that I need to verbalize things that have gone wrong in my life and make good with that. And I need to verbalize things that I want and things that I need to accomplish as a better human being. And I would still use those values and morals. And I would portray that forward because that's what I feel like a good human being is. And maybe that's because I've been trained as a Christian person, that's just how I would go forward, even without the Christian, religion sitting behind me and going, I know this is real. She's like, yeah, I would still do it. I think it's healthy. And so the banter was kind of got shut down. And I'm like, I loved the thought experiment and I loved her answer, which is I'd still do it. Which is my follow on question, which I asked before we rated beers, which was, do you think society needs that? Does society need a belief in something else?
Greater than ourselves.
Greater than us. Call it aliens, call it,
Right.
I'm going to bring aliens into this.
Sure.
But call it something outside of us has control over us so that we can go, hey, Jesus, take the wheel. This crap's way too bad for me.
Well, so there's probably at an individual level, there's the Jesus take the wheel, right?
Right.
Because that's a one-on-one relationship of I've reached my breaking point. I need some help.
Yeah.
But then if you look at it as a society, right? I think since the dawn of time and since the dawn of humans and human-like species, because there's been more than just Homo sapiens, for those who want to go and look that up. We just happened to win. But there were a couple other that kind of went out of they went extinct. But survival of the fittest.
Except for Yetis and Bigfoots.
But when as man started to evolve to think, right, not just work on instinct alone, I think we have questioned everything. right?
Yeah.
We've questioned our own existence. We've questioned the rock that we walk on. We've questioned the sky that we look up to. So in all of those things, we wanted answers. And so we looked to each other to go, why is that mountain over there yelling so loudly and spewing things up into the air? Why is it when there's water coming from below, is there flashes of light in the sky? That doesn't make any sense. And I think people wanted answers for things to be less scary. They start filling in the blanks. I think that has never changed. I think still today you have you have things that
you have the wires and the answerers is basically it. The people who go, I don't know why this is happening. Somebody explain it. And somebody who's like confident in themselves and going, yeah, I'll just make stuff up. It does that because the gods are pissed. Right? Like you need to throw a goat in there.
right.
Once you throw the goat in
there was a
person.
Right. There was
there's
person,
that one guy.
Yeah, that thought that and said, I got the answer.
And now he's the medicine man.
Right. But I think my point there is that people are always looking for that. And I think that given what we even know now is probably, I don't think we know less or more now sometimes. I think we know less because we're like, oh, well, we used to know that the sun was there and the moon was there and we couldn't quite figure out which rotated around which. But that was our line of sight, right? Now that we had telescopes and things that looked way behind and we're like, okay, we're in a universe. And then we're just one of a billion universes.
Yeah.
And like, there's so much out there that we don't know. How do we explain that?
When you're a big fish in a little pond, you know everything about the pond. When you're a little fish in a big pond, you don't know crap about the big pond. And that's kind of where we've evolved to, right? Is what you're saying is when we thought we were the kind of the center of the universe, we knew everything about, like we thought we knew everything. Well, it's just a smaller circle.
We only had 100 questions.
Right.
What's the big yellow ball in the sky? What's
it's hot?
Right. What's lightning? But now we have like
a billion questions.
How does a black hole really work? What's on the other side of it?
How many other planets are just like ours?
Right.
Yeah.
Is there life?
How do I get there?
Right.
How do we not beat up this planet to a point where we can't live here anymore? Like all those kind of questions.
And that's why I said on the last episode that the thing is, like, I know so little that for me to say that there isn't something in control way more than humans are, whether that's one God,
one deity, or
whether we're in a
forces.
simulation of a supercomputer somewhere in some universe of a multiverse, it's way beyond my comprehension. So I am not going to shut down anybody and go, well, that other than there's a few. Now, are we going to get to that towards the end? Is like what the religions we could just really annihilate?
100%. We are going to get to that. Yes.
If you're LDS, I apologize for this, but man, I think that one just go away.
Wow.
I've just seen. Oh man, I've seen
That's Mormons.
Thank you for clarifying that. Yeah.
Hey, you're saying all Mormons.
Man, I just wish there was some things they could tweak on that. There's some really stuff in Scientology, I think, and I don't even know if that's a real religion.
We need to bring some. We need to bring
more so as a
We need to
cult.
bring a Mormon on. I know some.
Yeah. And I would love to have a conversation because I mean I would and say, hey, there's a Netflix documentary that I watched called The Sins of My Mother. Watch that one and tell me like I'm
100% with you on Scientology. Like those people, that's based on a fiction book, right? Like a guy wrote a book. Like, that's nonsense. That's L. Ron Hubbard and he bought a ship.
Right.
Like that's a whole lot of nonsense.
LDS and the Golden Tablets. That's factual.
I'm just saying. That is
John
at least
Smith or whatever?
that is John Smith.
Right.
Oh, yeah. Found the tablets at 12 or something, like really young, and then like didn't think anybody else could handle them, so he destroyed them. I'm like, who destroys artifacts like that? I think that's the
feel
story.
like almost at this point too, you have to tell the story of your personal journey of religion and inviting some people in, and they were telling you the story, right? Because they were Mormons, right? They were doing their journey, and they have to go out in groups of 2, right? And what did you say, right?
Tell the story. Go.
It's your story.
No, it's not. I don't even remember it. You go.
It was so fantastic because you're like, I'm at a point in my life where I really want to ask these questions. I want to hear your take. I want to hear a lot of takes and then see if I can figure out what's going on. Invites them into your house, sit down. tell me your story. They start telling the story of John Smith, and they sort of get to the golden tablets, and you're like, oh my gosh, you have these?
Right.
Yeah, like, where can I go see these? What museum have you built? And they're like, no, hold on. You haven't gotten to the punchline of the story yet. Those are gone. You're like, what?
Why would you destroy those? That would have been the end for me on that one.
You could have let people see these,
Right.
and more people would have been.
You
on
want to
board,
talk
right?
about a sightseeing event, like or a attraction that people would have come from miles around for? Is that?
Yeah.
So yeah. Anyway.
Makes me. I love the fact that you invited them in because
We don't. Yeah, not anymore. No.
Right. You're like, heard that story. If you got a new one, come back.
But I do have a dear friend who was raised Mormon, and so I did.
Right.
But I went to like things with him, and it was cool. Like we went to like somewhere in Illinois. Dang it! Like I don't know. We'll call it Zydeco. It's not. It's like I don't. He'll correct me.
Springfield.
He listens, so
on.
he'll tell me what it was. But there was this like camp where they crossed the river, and like this is where. I think they decided to start their movement to Salt Lake City. Dang,
I thought that was in Pennsylvania.
no, it's
Is that in Illinois?
I think so. It's close, closer than you think.
Okay.
God, I can't. No, dang it.
This makes for great
Someone,
radio.
yeah, sorry. We're not on the radio. It's a podcast. You can comment.
right.
Somebody comment. What
Fast
the heck?
forward 15 seconds.
Yeah, Jiminy Christmas.
It's
Sorry.
in,
Sorry, people.
That
I
place,
suck.
you know,
I suck at
with that
memory.
actor who was
No.
married to that one person.
Nauvoo. It's in Nauvoo.
Okay.
I think is the name of it. Somebody correct me. I'm certain my Mormon friend will correct me.
right.
Anyway, so yeah, sure. What else? What other religion do you think shouldn't just wipe them off?
Right. Those are the big. Those stand out. I digress because I'm only seeing probably the worst that they have to offer. Right.
Right.
They don't make documentaries about all the thousands of good people that are trying to live a good and,
I mean,
wholesome life. I get it. So I digress, but
And
I
they
put
all
it
have
out there
morals
for
and values, and they
Yes.
have. And what makes me laugh is that people always get on plural marriage because that's a Mormon thing, right? And they're like, oh, Mormons supported plural marriage. So if you believe in evolution and you're like, we used to be animals, we're still animals, right? We're still in the animal kingdom.
Yes.
You look around, plural marriage is not necessary. It's not even an exception. It's mostly the rule. You look
Right.
at lions or primates or whoever, it's all one male, multiple females to make sure that you're spreading your DNA as far like that's just
Right.
how it works, right? Like those relationships are there in the animal kingdom all over the place. It's just when you get to humans, they're like, we're too good for that.
Well,
And I don't want more than
Right,
one wife. I
right.
can't handle the one I got. I'm just saying.
That's what makes me laugh so much is that it's like, there's like this idea that, oh my gosh, that guy's just in it for himself because he can have like 4 wives. And I'm like, that is a lot
who
to
wants
juggle.
that?
I love my wife dearly, but I don't think she
no.
wants 3 of me either.
No.
And she said, no, I can't handle but you.
Yeah, she
right?
needs 3/4 of a Steven, right? Most of the time, right? Like she needs me turned down.
Right.
Like, yeah, I've got
So,
one is plenty for both of us.
Right.
One is plenty for both
Oh,
of you. I'm
right.
sure you're like, I'm not trying to get into anything extra.
no.
So, yeah, I was like, I don't want you to cheat on me. I don't have mental capacity to do it.
No. Right.
Anyway, so moving on. That took us on a weird
So I mean,
tangent. So
I think what we were kind of going with was, do we think that there's a place for religion today?
yeah. Do you think religion has to be here? Not only is there a place for it, there's obviously a place for it. We got hundreds of millions of people in
it's
that.
such a weird word to say has to be.
Has
But I
to
think
be.
where I was going
Does
with
society
it,
have to have it?
where I think I was going with it is people gravitate towards that as a way of filling in some of the blanks,
Okay.
right? And going,
So it's their why.
there's something bigger than myself. I don't know what it is, and I can't explain it. But there's a mass of people before me that have said this is the way to go, and there's the huge thing that we really haven't talked about, but it weighs on people's minds, and that is we don't know what happens when we die. Right. And that is a huge thing for people to wrap their minds around, because if you really think that when you die, it's just dust, that is a hard concept to wrap your brain around, where you go, I was here and then just nothing. Whereas having an afterlife, having the possibility of, hey, I lived, whatever it is that gets you into your afterlife, even if you don't believe in a necessarily religion, there's still other things. Now, what you should have watched Defending Your Life, I still believe you probably haven't done your homework. That is not religious in nature.
When have I ever done my homework for this?
That is not religious in nature, but it has a very fun...
I wrote down religious thought experiment for today.
Outlook.
Okay, keep going.
That has a very fun and interesting way of looking at what potentially would be the afterlife. My point is that without any kind of understanding of what the afterlife is, people are going to go, I'm going to hedge my bet a bit, right?
Yeah.
I've been told, people have told me, if I live bad, I go to fiery hell. If I live good, I go to streets of gold. What would you do? You know,
or if you live and are happy your entire life, there's a chance you don't go either one of those places. And that's what I think people forget. Like, there is still a chance, even in all religions, that they're wrong. Like,
right. But that's what I said. But that's fear.
So
right there, because if
that's
you
how
really,
religion gets you, right? They're like, do you want to have a choice of two paths, or do you want to have a choice to be pushing up daisies? That's the answer, right? Is that we'll either put you in the ground, you get your 82 years here. It used to be 40, then it was 50, then it was 60. Now I think it's maybe upper 70s for guys, like lower 70s. I don't know. Our prostates are getting way too big. I don't know what it is. But
say
anyway,
80.
80?
Yeah.
Okay. So now you get your 80 years, and that's it. So go figure out how to live life between 0 and 80 as best you can, because that's all you got. And I don't think people want to deal with that reality.
That's
and
what I said.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's why they go, I think I need another option. I think I need to have the belief that maybe I live here 80, and if I do good enough, maybe I get eternal life. But I don't know what that looks like, and I have no proof that that exists.
Right.
I have a lot of proof that when you put a body in the ground, it just pushes up daisies for the next 15 years until it's dust.
I completely understand that's the point exactly that I made. Maybe I just didn't say it correctly.
You need to say it in my words.
But right, I would like, because we don't know what happens, we will always gravitate to go. I think as a species, and wanting to not see yourself perish and be nothing, that it's like there's some bit of
so hold on
warmth.
I'm gonna disagree. We do know what happens when you die. You die. Like we know exactly what happens.
Your physical body, yes.
Yeah. So religion has told you something else happens
to your spirit,
to a spirit.
Right.
But that's part of the religious belief, right? That something else exists inside you that gets sucked out and then pulled out and then goes up to heaven.
Do you think that they use that though as a bad thing or a good thing?
That's what I'm asking. That's a whole experiment.
Right. Well, the words that you were using was that religion told you to do this, and this is where you'll go. Religion is making you do that.
Religion tells you that life doesn't end.
Let's flip it around just
if religion didn't exist in this thought experiment, if religion didn't exist, you only have 80 years here.
Right. But I'm saying I don't think that that religion is doing this out of a malice, right? To just control you. I don't think that their primary objective is to control you. And I know some people will argue with that and go,
I might argue with that.
And you might. I don't think that's their primary. I don't think the religion would be around if people really thought that was the primary objective, because I think they would rally against it, and sometimes they have.
Okay.
I think that there are. I think I want to see the good. I want to see the optimism, and I think the basis of what religion was meant to be was, here is what it's bigger than us. And there's going to be bigger than you after you're dead. We just don't know what it necessarily looks like. And we're going to fill in the blanks based on what we think we know and what sounds good, what makes us feel good at night. But that doesn't mean it doesn't exist. To a certain, in their, yeah.
All right. So I'm going to give you last word on my topic. On a thought experiment. So you get to own that part. I want to hear what you listeners think. I want to hear do you think religion has been over controlling? Do you think where are you at with this thought experiment? Where did your head go when you heard it? I'm going to leave it at that, because I think part of the fun is going, this is just like what rattles around in my brain. And I wanted to hear what rattled around in your brain. And we extended this out way longer than I heard it extended out before. And I go, I think it's worth the conversation to go, if there's no religion, what happens?
Can I ask you a question though?
Sure.
Just because we got a few minutes
Sure.
till the hour here. Have you personally had either a really good experience with religion or a really bad experience?
I've had both.
Okay.
I've had a really spiritual experience outside of church, but inside of what I would consider religion. I've had a really, really deeply moving personal experience. I've also had a couple things that made me go, oh, I don't like this at all. Like this gave me the heebie-jeebies. A lot of it is around, we don't accept you if you're not exactly like us and you don't read our scripture. Like just the lack of like acceptance of some denominations and that kind of thing. So I've had some really bad things that made me feel really not great about religion. I've had some deeply spiritual things that have happened.
Okay.
And I fall on that. I fall on the side that says I may not like organized religion, because I think there's some deep rooted evil in organized religion around control and power and money. I think when money's involved and power's involved, a lot of bad things happen. But I do think that there is a spiritual connection that I long to have and try to have.
And I think 95% of the people in this world think exactly that same way. I think they know at their core that religion, in your words, organized religion is made up of people, and people are inherently flawed.
Yep.
And people have their flaws will tend to gravitate towards what's in it for me.
Yep.
How can I derive power? How can I be
power.
how can I have influence, and how can I have good reputation, right? And legacy. And all of those things sometimes manifest itself in really bad ways in the name of religion. But then other times they manifest them, like the people that are in there manifest in really good ways, and they pass along really good things to people, just like you said. But it's all people. And to think that, and this is my personal parting thoughts on this, is that I have also had some, I've really respected things that some religions have done. And there are things that I really have gone, I wish that you wouldn't have existed, to your first point, right out of the chute. But that being said, there's something way greater than me. I have no idea how this really started. I mean, just saying words like Big Bang, sure, we can say there was a Big Bang, and then you go, well, then there's so much more involved in that, and there's so much that we just don't know. To think in my head that I have all the answers, right? It's just ridiculous.
There's something,
right?
And I don't know enough to know all the things.
Yeah,
like it just.
Right. And I've thought of so many different scenarios, and there's hundreds of movies out there with all weird scenarios. The Matrix, we've talked about that in an episode. What if that's a thing? What if multiverse is a multiverse type things? You know, what if there's a God, but he doesn't really care about us? We're just here for the planet. We're like, so whatever. There's so many variations of what could be happening that we're involved in that we don't know.
So we got to the end of the episode, and finally I got like the one thing that I think finally wrapped all my brain around this is something you just said, which is the open-mindedness is what I appreciate. Mm-hmm. The closed-mindedness is not.
Yeah.
The fact that you think you know everything tells me you don't. And that ticks me off. Honestly, it pisses me off at most organized religions. I'm like, shut up. You don't, there's no way you can. And the fact that I'm open-minded and you're not accepting of me. Right? Like that you can't have conversations like this where we go, I'm not sure what's going on here. Like what's coming next. And they go, no, we know the answer. Shut up. No, you don't. Like you're just closed-minded. You just want people to believe that. So I think that's what triggered this whole conversation, which you just summarized very nicely. I appreciate that. Nice work.
That's what I'm here for.
I don't think I'm
your spiritual guide.
Yeah. You're like my spirit animal, Batman.
All right. So yeah, like Steven said, we're always looking for interactions. We love it. I know it's hard sometimes because podcasts are sort of a consuming
It's a one way. It feels very one way, and I hate that.
While
for
you're
those people.
driving or while you're mowing the lawn and stuff, and that's great. So don't feel bad if you don't reach out, but if you just get a whim and you're like, man, I really have an opinion on this, we'd love to hear it. If we don't hear it, that's fine.
Yeah. And if you have an inkling, if you're listening to this on a podcast forum and you haven't gone out to our YouTube channel, go out to our YouTube channel and subscribe. That way you'll get when we do live episodes and all that kind of stuff too. It also helps us. So just self-promotion, I can't help it. Sorry. But I think
We like to spread our sermon.
Yeah.
And we like to
I don't come to this pulpit
preach
for
to
fun.
the masses. Can I get an amen?
You can. Amen.
Exactly. All right. Are we good here?
I think so.
Feels like we wrapped it up sort of suddenly and short, but that sounds good.
Yeah.
All
It's
right.
a thought experiment.
Thanks
Cool.
you.
Thanks you.
We really do hate to see you go, but we do like to watch you leave. Bye.